So, it's a big night for poetry. This is it's a pretty impressive crowd. Thank you all for coming. Let's get to the poems. Entitled, You can skip to video in 5. You can skip to video in 4. Come on. You can skip to video in 3. You can skip to video in 2. You can skip to video in 1. You can skip to video in, yes, skip ad. Boom. However, Kaleidoscope for Coca-Cola. In a cocoon of old Coca-Cola cans, at a costume party mooning Santa Claus. In a bubble bath candlelight, ooh la la, in an effervescent molasses lagoon. At an afternoon picnic with Lee Coca, and a poodle's coat with polka dots. In a cocoon of old Coca-Cola cans, to a bassoon on a Motorola phone ringtone. From a cupcake tray to a toothache kid, in a cartoon drawn by Crayola hands. In an old spittoon for legislative candidates, and the styling tools of Vidal Sassoon. In a cocoon of old Coca-Cola cans, from Boca Raton to the Rio Grande. In a hot air balloon with Francis Ford Coppola stirring up captains and cokes. In a cocoon of old Steve Gutenberg flicks, for all his koalas on crack cocaine. Now admiring Jeff Koons' balloon animals, I give you Ayatollah Khomeini. In a cocoon of old Coca-Cola cans, sure Reese Witherspoon favors her Pepsi. But in a slurpy sip, Coca-Cola in the straw, Pocahontas in her Honda Accord. On the iTunes tip of rock and roller bands as the monsoon jolts an Ebola clinic. Upon their pontoon boats and catamarans. Even the polar bears recommend it. Alright, this book is called Poembrace the Bloom, and the title of this poem is called Poembrace the Bloom. All that blossoms is blessed. All that withers is wake. All that blossoms is bright. All that withers is wail. All that blossoms, beloved. All that withers is wane. All that blossoms is bold. All that withers is withdraw. All that blossoms is brief. All that withers is witness. All that blossoms is bereaved. All that withers is wise. You might also like. Today's BBC hyperlinked headline reads, Buddhist monks protest against time. This moment, this now, it tastes like you spent the past 20 minutes dissecting the anatomy of a piñata. Scrumptiousness aside, all the clocks in Prague couldn't undermine the typography of every poster that's ever boasted, waiting for Godot. In the next gallery over, the curator is measuring a sculpture composed of cracked open brown eggshells. Will you sit with me a smidge? I don't want to be alone while I watch the sculpture struggle. When of the off, he collapsed the grand piano. And just this that, of, and, made between walls. Of two to of two to of, I of two, I to of, I, without lunch. My with my situations. Of ruin, of living, I saved what he gave me. He, the someone somewhere poet unknowing, unforgettably, of a cliff, off a cliff, off's a cliff, offer a cliff, often a cliff, offset a cliff, offend a cliff, officer a cliff, offline a cliff, offcast a cliff, offbeat a cliff, offside a cliff, offload a cliff, off-key a cliff, off-hand a cliff, off-track a cliff, off-stage a cliff, off-times a cliff, off-shoot a cliff, offshore a cliff, off-ramp a cliff, officially a cliff, off-spring a cliff, off-screen a cliff, off-season a cliff, and on this occasion of oh how awful. Is bankruptcy spelled with one holy shit or two? Dear life, cold bites. All right, anyone ever been to New Orleans? Yeah. Good people. Jazz Fest?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So 05, 07, a bunch of musicians from other bands came together, you know, like an after-hours show. Jonathan Freilich, Skerik, Stanton Moore, Todd Sickafoose, and Mike Dillon played a club called the Chickie, which, if you've seen Treme, they do a scene in the Chickie. That's the title, more or less. Here's the poem. Like percussive puppeteers, when drumsticks, when vibraphone mallets friendly fire strike, whack collide with their skins and metal bars. Some idea of my body, some flesh to express a feel, moves. Fond of funk, jazz to jam, I'm the guy in the Moon Man boombox team, and it's a pleasure to react ecstatic to such fusion of Nolan's cuisine. Unless you feel it emotionally, Chickie Wawa's owner said, hand to forehead then brushed over scalp. You can't understand. Shadow of how fast the pedal-breathing metallic xylo-like vibraphone of bullion treasure bars. Dillon, up. Thump, tips of Sickafoose, acoustic bass, thump to the thump, 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 thump. Coins of black sax pad cuts, smooth sailing through Skerik vending machine is sweet jazz kitchen delights. Tongue of naked Freilich out for charged guitar face, and author of songbook open on tambourine. All playing with and against one another, somewhere within the transparent fan of trails created by he who speaks in strikes of sticks. Give me some more! Give me that womp, full moon bass kick and tap dance of the tightest spiders in my eardrum. For while an old friend who flew into NOLA from LA, to be with a girl who flew into NOLA from NY, leaves the show early to go get laid, I've come to NOLA for New Orleans. That poem, it's upside down. If you can see it, looks like that. One of those, you know, shape poems. Awesome. Yeah. So, who's got a Gmail account? Yeah. So you're at work, right? And you're like, I am your friend, because you're, you know, not supposed to do that, and you're, you know, just chatting someone up. This is called GCHAT with WILDEBEEST. Matt, what you up to tomorrow? Me, gotta go to work and act like the excuse I gave today for taking off was actually real. Matt, I meant after work. Hey! Suspended together. Spying a bin of scissors, confiscated by the TSA. Got me wondering about a headline I shifted eyes over on the other side of the scanners. Are breastfed kids more upwardly mobile? I was busy clicking a close-up of my Susan B. Anthony Crackerjack Prize. Worst score in Crackerjack history. Sorry. When I realized I am human, but only since 1977. A new work in progress, printed out screen grabs of the pages you get when you Google how to buy a breast pump. Suspended on filament to create a symbolic geometric volume. Women, an entire volleyball team, just hustled past in a late for their flight commotion, wearing Stanford University warm-up gear. Everything's okay, her voicemail sang. It meant she got her period. And ever been to the Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
Big time. Kaibab limestone, rim, cream of bathtub ring, sunny grayish white, where wow abounds. All of this once submerged, coral fish teeth worms. All the Tarawiak formation, many tears we've yet to shed. Shadows, yellows, for the time it took. Ravens, up, if they know where they are. No matter what you Coconino sandstone expect, these historic horizontals, it's more. Unearthly walls, Duchamp's new descending number 2. Petrified pure quartz, deep artistic hermit shell scar. Yuck fly suck mule dung all along, ligaments hoofing on the rocks the river never took. Adventure rising. And there are reds to read, till Supai formation, you've seen it, the challenge. No one can truly describe it. Scrappy little squirrels, miles, mules of the muse, the same source that made red wall limestone this. It never gets old. made me caves, arches, where reconnoisseurs, older as you go, Dolomites, where adventurizing, views that mauve limestone somehow enter you, a thing or two about time, the desire to study geology the moment you get home, them ravens, pines, the stratum, bright angel shale that poses for pictures, mudstone, Paleozoic, how many millions? Boot prints, shy about what a million even is, ripple dips from ocean tapiat sandstone waves, Cambrian, every line at which you aim your eyes, Zoroaster granite, another line shoots you somewhere else, eroded, a man named Vishnu Schist, a great wall had at the lookout when we first arrived, shared, awesome doesn't mean the same thing anymore, all that which the Colorado carved, to breathe it all in, and in its sight, her first time, she cried. All right, last one. Has anyone ever been to Siena, Italy?
Yes.
So, traveling the world here tonight. Right, thank you. So, in Siena, there's a Basilica of San Domenico. And in the basilica is St. Catherine's head. It is at least 700 years old, and it's super tiny. Like, think of a 7-year-old head. It's tiny, it's shrunken. It's creepy. It's his body. It's in like this case. What's it doing there?
It's a reliquary.
It's a reliquary. It's called Sonnet That Fell Out of St. Catherine's Mouth, and it's after Ernest Hilbert. You there, with your clutter of character, unaware of how many skeletons rattle in the lines of the kindling trees. Too timid to shake the ambassadors at the ends of everything you've begun. Stop hovering. Hit the harpsichord keys. Out of the monochromatic, a charged, vivid splash. Far better than your sour mouthful of mercury fillings clenching aluminum foil fears. What's enlarged when there's no longer the need to cower? From small to skies explodes the coil spring. For look here, they have my head in a case. It's not because of heights I could not face. Thanks, everybody.